How to nail any interview. If you follow the tips I'm going to give you in this video, you won't go too far wrong. Interviewing isn't as hard as what you make it out to be in your own head. The employer actually wants you to perform well in an interview. And look, if you prepare well, you do your research and give it the time it deserves, you'll go great. Believe me, you will. So let's jump in. First of all, preparation. You can never be over-prepared for an interview, ever. So consider these points. Check the address. Sounds basic, but a lot of people get it wrong. If you're going to drive, make sure there's a car park nearby and figure out where you're going to park. If you're going to get a train or a bus, check out the timetables. The worst thing that can happen with an interview is being late. It's just the worst way to start an interview. So double check that. The company, go onto the company website, do your research as much as you can, look at the products, look at their recruitment pages, their career pages, check out the values, because you might get asked this in an interview. I know it's kind of a bit cliche, but if you get asked the values and you don't know, it's going to be a big black mark against your name. Crazy, but look, it is what it is. Go into Google, tap in the company name and put "and news," hit that search bar and it'll come up with all the latest news stories about that company. If it's a private company, it's less so, but look, just try and do as much research as you can into that company and the competitors. After that, go onto LinkedIn, find out who you're meeting, click on their profile. Down the side of their profile, there'll be other people they work with. Click on those, click into the company page on LinkedIn as well, and find out who's working there. And you can get a sense of the kind of people, where they've come from. The more information you have going into this, the better. So consider that in terms of preparation. If they're a listed company, they'll have what you call an annual report. Go onto that, have a look what the strategy is, the plans are for the next year. Go into the finance pages. There's usually one page that kind of summarizes the financial performance to get across that. And look, regarding preparation, as much as you can figure out about the company, speak to your friends. Do they know anyone who works there? The more you've got in your inventory, should we say, the better armed you're going to be. So secondly, first impressions. Smile. It's the number one thing when you meet someone. You've got to smile. It just makes you open, welcoming. Working in the recruitment industry, I've met so many people who just look scared and feared, and they just look like the world's going to collapse on them. But just before you go into the meeting, take a deep breath and just smile. It makes such a difference. So don't forget to do that. I know it sounds basic, but just put a smile on your face before they come into the room or come down the corridor. It's really important. Dress code wise, simple rule is maybe dress one up ahead. Like in the more corporate world, dress like you're going to a wedding. For you guys, for you ladies, just make sure you wear a jacket, blouse and corporate skirt. Judge it what it's like as well. Go on the company pages like I touched on before. If they're all wearing smart casual, you can gauge it. Like a lot of these media companies that we've dealt with over the years are really casual, but look, smart casual is the goal for most companies these days. But if you're in doubt, make sure you whack a jacket on, and for you guys, put a tie on as well. I've never heard of any bad feedback in terms of being overdressed, or I don't like that person because they were overdressed. It just doesn't, that kind of feedback just doesn't happen. So one last point as well in regards to first impressions, handshakes. Make sure you have a good handshake. If you think you've got a rubbish handshake, practice with your family, friends. They will tell you the truth. Get that right. I know in this time when I'm recording this video, it's probably not apt, but look, maybe practice your fist bumps. If you've got a bad handshake, work on it and make sure you get that right. Number 3, know your resume. Know it like the back of your hand. Like I touched on before, get your family, your friends to quiz you on it. Give them that document and get them to ask you about any line on there, even if it's your interest, your qualifications, a job you had a few years ago. Get them to try and get you to slip up, and before long you'll know it like the back of your hand, and when you go to interview it'll just roll off the tongue when they ask you about any point of your resume. Number 4 is about instilling confidence in the person that's interviewing you, and a lot of people forget about this. What do I mean by instilling confidence? Is to talk about your ability to do the job. When they're interviewing you, they want to know what you did. So stay away from saying, we did this, or the team did that. Talk about what you did. I did this, I did that, I worked on this project and the result was that. It just gives them lots of confidence that the person they're interviewing just knows what they're talking about and can add value to the role they're trying to recruit for. So instill confidence in them. Keep on talking about what I did. And with your achievements as well, practice your achievements before you go into an interview. Know what they are and have a think about how your achievements can apply to this role that you're interviewing for. Instill confidence, It's pretty easy to do. You just got to know your background and back yourself. Number 5, try and predict the questions. At this stage, you would have seen the job advert, you may have a position description, and we can be fairly assumptive that they're going to ask you certain questions regarding your experience. They've seen something in your resume, your CV to get to this point in the interview, so they like you before they've even met you to a certain extent. So a good way to think about this is put yourself on the other side of the table. If they were interviewing you, what would you ask yourself? If that makes sense. Start writing these down, and before long you'll have a few questions because they know you're going to ask about your current experience, why you think you're going to be good for it, the value you can bring to the role. And before long you'll have these questions. Give these questions to your family, your friends, and get them to quiz you about it. And when you practice it as well, talk it out loud. Don't just think of the answer in your head. When you talk out loud, it just the patter, it rolls off your tongue a lot easier. Even when I do these videos, believe me, this isn't the first take I've done on this. So talk it out loud, practice. And one other thing I'd say is go into Google, search common interview questions. There's loads on there. Search the top 10 common interview questions. They're probably going to ask you 2 or 3. The common ones are like, tell me about yourself. What is your greatest strengths, your weaknesses? Have a look at that on Google and get across those questions and answers as well. And believe me, you won't go too far wrong, and it'll give you and them confidence. Number 6, avoid negative talk. No one who's going to interview you wants to hear how bad your boss is or how bad your current role or your company is. People want to employ happy, positive people. So even if you've got a terrible relationship with your current manager, address it, but just move on as quickly as you can, because they don't want to employ people who are going to kind of bring baggage with them. They just want to employ optimistic, happy, positive people. So stay away from any negative talk. If you feel you need to address it, but just move on. Number 7, always have some questions prepared. You will get asked, do you have any questions for us at the end of the interview? And you've got to have some. If you don't, it's a big black mark against your name. I've never had that feedback where someone said, I don't have any questions, and their client's gone, oh, doesn't matter, they're great. It just doesn't work like that. So if you think you're going to forget them, take a compendium with you or a journal, write them down. You're not going to get judged on that. But your questions can be anything really, anything that's relevant to the role, obviously. So you can even talk about the company, the culture, the values, flexibility. You can even ask the person interviewing you why they enjoy working for the company, and ask them what's going to make this person successful in the role. So have some questions prepared. And again, it'll give you confidence because at that stage of the interview, you're in control of it. So the more questions you have, the better. But one point in terms of asking questions, don't ask 15 questions because they'll be on the other side of the desk thinking, oh my God, like this is just too much. Number 8, if the interview has gone well, ask them about the next steps. You can gauge it. If you think the interview's gone well, ask them, how do you think I've gone? What are the next steps? You may already know, if you're going through a recruiter or HR, they may have told you it's like 2 or 3 stages in this testing, but look, I just think it gives me as an interviewer confidence and them as a hiring company. So if you think it's gone well, ask about the next steps. They'll be quick to tell you, oh look, I'll get you to meet this person in a couple of days. And it just shows your confidence. It gives them confidence as well. So make sure you ask about the next steps. Number 9, make friends with everyone in the building. What do we mean by this? When you go in and you have a chat with a receptionist, make sure you're on form. Be friends with that person. Don't be arrogant, don't be direct, even if you're in a rush or whatever. Make sure you're friends, because believe me, if you're rude or unprofessional to someone in that company, they're probably going to tell that hiring manager about it. And on that alone, you won't get the job. So make friends with everyone in the building. Be nice, be friendly, be kind to everyone, and make sure you consider that. To really close out nearly an interview, I'd say number 10, it's about good body language and good eye contact. With good body language, it's just about keeping open, mirroring the person who's interviewing you. Never cross your arms. It's really defensive and kind of comes across like you know everything. So stay away from crossing your arms. Be open, face them, mirror what they're doing, and also good eye contact. When they're speaking to you, make sure you look in the eyes, and when you're giving an answer, make sure you look in the eyes as well. It's really off-putting. I've met people over the years where they are looking around the room. It's just a bit weird. It's off-putting as the interviewer. So good eye contact, good body language, and you won't go too far wrong at all. There you go. I hope all those tips make sense, and if you implement them, if you prepare and research well and give it the time it deserves, you will nail that interview. Believe in yourself, you can do it. I really believe that anyone, if they're prepared, can interview well. And you don't have to be extroverted, introverted. I've met some of the most reserved people in my life, and they're great at interviewing, so don't believe that nonsense. Any questions, put them in the comments below. Reach out if you want to discuss anything or you need me to address something, and I look forward to having a chat with you all soon. Cheers, bye.